Black Friday is now upon us. What should you buy in the shop? Are there great deals? Where are the great deals? That is what we're going to find out now. Now, obviously, the black boxes being crates are extremely bad. These don't include anything useful except more crates and a little bit of gold and free XP, so I highly recommend not purchasing these things at all. The T28 HTC bundle for €12 gives you a vehicle that can be penetrated in the gun turrets at pretty much any angle, any vehicle. So it is not that fun to play. The gun is 310 alpha damage. Overall, not the best tier 7 tank destroyer. There are better options, and also it is a tier 7, so you will make less credits and do less damage than if you are playing at tier 8, so I recommend against it. Now, there are a lot of vehicles here, but let's go through them one by one. The 268 version 4 is worse than the Badger for 17,000 gold. That is a good price because it is now cheaper than the Badger. This vehicle, overall, it works as a tank destroyer. However, you have to keep in mind that these plates right here are extremely weak, and the second you turn it slightly, you will be easily penetrated by pretty much any T10 in the game. So, not really that well armored when you look at it that way. The gun, however, 2.7k DPM, not, for example, as high as the Jagdpanzer E100, which has even more alpha damage. And even though this vehicle is an absolute monster in terms of mobility in World of Tanks PC, in Blitz it has a top speed of 29 and a power weight ratio of 15. So, not a great vehicle, but for 17k, if you are looking for one of the two tier 10 tank destroyers, certainly the weaker one, it can be worth it. Next, the VK90, and we're also going to have a look at the coupons later, don't worry about that. The VK90 is an excellent vehicle, for example, for side scraping, much better than something like a VK72K. Now, the problem really is 2.6k DPM, not really that amazing. 460 alpha damage is lower than that of the other German super heavies, but overall, this is an excellent vehicle for side scraping, and even has 10 degrees of gun depression over the sides of the vehicle, unfortunately not the front. It's decently mobile compared to the other super heavies as well. So if you're a fan of German super heavies and you want one that can actually side scrape and that has a turret that you can't easily pen like the mouse, then this is what you want. Now, while the menacing trio is €15 for 3 vehicles and might sound like a great deal, the problem really is here, the 111 is terrible, the T-34-3 is also terrible, and the Action X is overshadowed by the regular Carnarvon, which is a simply better vehicle. So, if you are looking for 3 cheap premium tanks just to throw away and make some credits, it can be useful. However, if you're looking for actually good tier 8 vehicles that are your main premium vehicles, you might not want to get these. T95 E6 has been buffed. It's now a somewhat formidable vehicle. It's not amazing, but it does work just about fine. And to be honest, 13,000 gold for this level of tier 10 is absolutely an amazing deal. Now, Wargaming always tends to sell this thing a little bit cheaper because they know it's not really that good, and it also requires an extremely good player. This is the Leopard 1 of heavy tanks at tier 10. So it does have 3,300 DPM, 400 alpha damage, 10 degrees of gun depression, quite solid mobility, for example, power to weight ratio of 21. So it is a decent vehicle. 13k is what it is worth, but it obviously is only really for good players because it's quite a pain to play. Moving on to the Kennedy 1, and even though this isn't the Object 752, the absolute now dominant monster of tier 9 after the Vickers CR has been stomped into the ground, this vehicle for 10,000 is a pretty solid deal. It's nowhere near as good as the Object 752, however, it is still a great vehicle, can also be useful for raiding battles, for example. However, 3-shot autoloader, 2.7k DPM, 350 alpha damage, that is 1,050 damage per clip, very good tank. And unfortunately, it's tier 9, which is sort of a middle in-between tier, but for 10k, this is a good deal. The MX prototype is the medium version of the Kennedy 1. Not too amazing, but very good nonetheless, and can be worth it if you're looking for a tier 9 medium tank for 9,000 gold. Pretty solid there, 2.8k DPM, could be a little bit higher, 310 alpha damage, 10 degrees of gun depression, which is always what you want. The Kennedy 1 only has 7, so it is a good vehicle, can be worth picking up. However, obviously, again, tier 8 is where your main credit grinding vehicles should be. Speaking of, and this absolute joke, 12,000 gold for a vehicle that is maybe worth 4. The HWK30 is worse than the Tech Tree IU251 and is sold for 12,000 gold. Similarly questionable, but not nearly as bad, is the AP AMX30. While it is nowhere near a great vehicle and probably also loses out to the Pershing in a lot of aspects. At least does have 10 degrees of gun depression. Paying 9,500 gold for a vehicle that's worth 6 is not really great, especially when 1,500 gold lower and a heavy tank, the Type 57, is an excellent vehicle to pick up. It is the 25TU that now has gun depression, so basically your tier 8 super heavy of choice should be this vehicle right here. And if you are looking for that kind of entry level tier 8 premium tank, if you're, let's say, a beginner player and you're trying to learn the game and you're just reached tier 8 in your tech tree, this can be an excellent option to start your premium tank journey with. It's got great alpha damage. It even has 9 degrees of gun depression. This thing is, for the price, a good choice. The ML 1951 is slightly worse than the regular ML. However, if you really enjoy the ML1, then picking up this vehicle to make credits with can be worth it. In any other case, I would stay away from it. The TS5 is a tank destroyer, and therefore I am not qualified to give a objective opinion on this vehicle, which is why I say ignore it. Centurion Mark 5-1 is one of the better tier 8 medium premium tanks. 7,000 gold for this vehicle is extremely adequate. The only downside is its abysmal alpha damage of only 190. However, it's got great mobility, it's got good armor as well. So in terms of premium tank choice at tier 8, in terms of medium tanks, this is one of the best that you can get. So I highly do recommend picking it up if you are looking for a tier 8 medium premium tank. The T4 Mod 1 would be a great deal if this was 2015, but it is not. It's 2023, and this vehicle has been power crept all the way to hell. So 7,000 gold. If you compare that to the exact same price of the Centurion and the performance difference there, this is very much a joke. Well, it does have somewhat decent armor. The rest of it is quite shocking, so stay away from it. 6,000 gold for the Skoda T27 is an excellent price. However, keep in mind this vehicle is for advanced to really good players only. It is a paper auto loader, so if you are a good player looking for a nice little challenge, this can be a great pickup for the price. The LT432 is around the same price point of what the HWK should cost, but again, 5,000 isn't 4,000, and it is not really a good vehicle either. It is also worse than a T4 lightweight, but if you really want a tier 8 light tank, there only are 3 options, and this is one of them, and the M4190 is better. And then for the tier 7 and tier 6, we're not really gonna go into detail. The E25 is a fun little vehicle, but it has been power crept massively, so if you are looking for the meme factor, there you go. The Titan is not really good in any way, so stay away from it. The Chroma B is a great tier 6 that requires quite a good player to pull off, such is the STR V74 as well. So basically, if you're a SEER clubber, then these are your 2 vehicles of choice. If you're trying to, let's say, make any times of credits, then this is not what you want to go for. But if you, for example, want to farm win rate, this can be a good option. As for what you can do with the coupons, you can gamble them away in a draw for the WZ121. Now, while the vehicle is very good, it is certainly not worth the amount of coupons that are displayed here. And if the vehicle was sold for, let's say, 6,000-7,000 gold in the Black Friday offers, that would be excellent, because for a tank destroyer, it is the great one, and the one at tier 8 that you would want in terms of tank destroyers, not the TS5. This one's better. However, given that it's in draw, we don't want it. And as for the coupons, you can get 3 vehicles: the Chimera, the Sharp Future 4, and the 114 SP2. The Chimera is an excellent vehicle that if you are buying stuff on Black Friday, I highly recommend picking up as well. You can get the Chimera for 400 of the coupons, the Sharp Future for 1,100, and the 114 SP2 for 1,600. The Chimera is an excellent vehicle. I do highly recommend picking it up. The Sharp Future, it's fine. It's not amazing, but it's certainly fine. And then the 114 SP2, let's have a look at that. Other than the vehicle, you can also get things like premium time and times 10s. Now, what I would recommend doing is, if you are buying a sizable amount of things in the Black Friday shop, pick up the Chimera, and then after that, go focus yourself on the premium time and, for example, times 5 XP if you are still looking to grind vehicle tech trees. If you don't want to do that and if you just want the tank, get yourself some free XP. So now I ask you, what are you going to buy? What have you already bought? Put it down in the comments, and while you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe as well. And if your attention span is that of a TikTok user, here is a very quick summary again of what to buy and what not to buy. Don't buy crates, don't buy the T28 HCC, it is horrible. 268, no. VK90, absolutely yes, in terms of tier 10 super heavy. Menacing Trio, not good. T95 E6, if you're a good player at tier 10, get it. 114, no. Kennedy 1, yes, if you're a good player, worth it. AMX 30B, also worth it. HWK, absolute joke. APAMX, also absolute joke. Type 57, excellent vehicle. Definitely recommend buying it. ML 951, only buy it if you enjoy the ML1 already. TS5, it's a tank destroyer, I don't care. Centurion Mark 1, great tier 8 medium tank to pick up. Definitely worth it. T51-1, not worth it, bad. T27, great price, only for good players. LT432, cheap, but not really good. Depends on you if you want the light tank. E25, meme tank, worth it, but only for the memes. Titan, not good. Chrome LB, STRV, CL clubbing vehicles to grind win rate. So if you hate new players, that's the ones you want. Playing this vehicle was so much fun, I tell you. I mean, not hitting anything is just so lovely. This is essentially the Mark 14 torpedo of tier 10 vehicles in World of Tanks Blitz. After Wargaming has seen the impact that changing the MX-30B had, and now it being somewhat reasonable, not great, but reasonable, the 114 is essentially the new AMX-30B. Pointless and shit. So, why am I being this harsh on the vehicle? Well, very quite simple, because first of all, it's being released in a Black Friday offer where you first have to pick up the camera and then the Char Future. And second of all, it is in no way impressive whatsoever, and it has a 0.39 accuracy at tier 10. That is appalling. It does have 620 alpha damage, at least 7 degrees of gun depression, and the worse mobility than the IS-7, so congratulations on that as well. Is the armor good on this vehicle, however? Well, the turret does have somewhere around 320 millimeters, but because it's quite flat, it is pennable by pretty much most of tier 10 heat rounds, so protection isn't really that great. The hull works fine. However, mobility is quite weak. So essentially what we have here is we have a... I don't know how to describe this really. It's a badly built Chinese IS-7. It's not the 113, because the 113 is actually a good vehicle. Whereas this thing, on the other hand, you actually have to pay for this. I mean, if it'd be a tech tree tank, it would be something like the VZ55. Pointless and no reason to get it. But that is also what is the case for the premium tank in this case, because it's pointless and not worth getting, and you would rather use your coupons if you decide to buy vehicles that are good, such as the VK90 or the Centurion 7-1, to use your coupons on things like premium time, free XP, or times 10 boosters, because those things are actually useful and will sort of make you more credits than this vehicle. And what's the point essentially that you have here? You get yourself a VK90 and just have a good working super heavy. It does have a turret at the back, which is a downside. It doesn't have quite the alpha damage of this thing, but overall, you'd have a tank that works. So as my verdict for this vehicle goes, put it in the bin or in the shop for 13k, because it's T95 E6, but in shit.